on the agenda. All comments are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes for each speaker, and your comments are appreciated. As the Texas Open Meetings Act does not allow the council to respond to items not listed on the agenda, your comments will be duly noted by the council and forwarded to the appropriate department for prompt consideration. A member of the audience that desires to speak during the city council's consideration of any specific agenda item is requested to notify city staff prior to the start of the meeting. At this time, there's no one on my list. I don't believe there's anyone who want to come forward. Okay, we will close citizen comments. Item 5, public hearing on proposed fiscal year 2022. Conduct a public hearing on the proposed fiscal year 2022 budget. Read the statement below. This budget will raise more revenue from property taxes than last year's budget by an amount of $396,563, which is a 5.09% increase from last year's budget. The property tax revenue to be raised from new property added to the tax roll this year is $157,569. Ms. Zito.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. So what you just read, the increase in property taxes, that is because of the property values increase, not because we raised the rate. The budget is the same rate as last year, so I wanted to point that out. You did have to read there's an increase, but it's because the property values did go up. So this is a public hearing, and I thought I would just acknowledge that at our workshop, we discussed some items, Mike's 3-year plan. I made the changes that was discussed. We added 2% more cost of living increase for employees, so that's a total of 3 now in the budget. The insurance we left as is, the group health insurance. We changed the police department to purchase 6 Tahoes instead of 3, and we took out the leases for the police department. That's assuming they're available in November when it's time to order them. We added back $10,000 to Litter Force in the council's budget. We added back $15,000 to the fire budget for defibrillators, for more defibrillators. They already had some in the budget. We had a water and sewer 4% rate increase on water and sewer rates. We reduced that to 3%. We also reduced the interfund transfer between the water and sewer and the general fund by $110,000, which helps the water and sewer fund. We added $25,000 to code enforcement. We added it to the special services line item, which is where they use that money for mowing, extra demolitions, that sort of thing. Our goal was to, per city manager's plan, was to use about $700,000 of the reserves to start to spend it down, right? So after all of that, we had about $50,000 more to go, so we put it in contingency. That's in our non-departmental line item, but so therefore, if something happens during the year, we have that little bit of cushion, we can move it around. So with that said, we achieved the goal of the city manager's plan and reduced reserves by about, it's actually $698,346. Came
How
pretty
much?
close. $698,346 is what we reduced the reserves by. So we came pretty close to the $700,000 mark. So this is a public hearing, Mayor, so you can open the public hearing.
Is there anyone who would like to address the proposed budget at this time? I'd like to, so since you're about 1,700 short, I think we can go get some Papados or something with that. Now, if there's no one who'd like to address the public hearing, I'll now close the public hearing and move on to the next public hearing on the proposed tax increase. Conduct a public hearing on the proposed tax rate for fiscal year 2022. Announce the following date, time, and location. Second reading and final vote on tax increase, September 14th, 2021 at 9 a.m. in the City Council Chambers, Orange Public Library. Ms. Zito.
Yes, so this is a public hearing on our tax. It says tax increase because the way the tax law is written, they calculate an effective rate, which is based on your, to calculate the rate that the new property values so that you would earn the same amount of revenue. So that's called your no new revenue rate. Well, our rate, we did not increase it. It's the same as last year, But it is more than that no new revenue rate, so they have to call it an increase. So
Gotcha.
therefore, that's what the notice will say, but effectively, our rate is the same exactly as last year.
Okay.
And this is a public hearing, so you'll have to open another public hearing.
Okay, is there anyone who would like to address council? If not, we will close the public hearing and move on to ordinances. Consider an ordinance adopting a budget for fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2021 and ending on September 30th, 2022 in accordance with the charter of the City of Orange, Texas, and it will require a record vote. Ms. Zito.
Yep, so this is the budget, the ordinance the first reading of the ordinance to adopt our budget with the changes that I laid out for you earlier. I can go through the totals for each fund, if you'd like, or if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Is there any comments or concerns from council?
No.
No? Okay. So do I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Birch, a second from Ms. Salter, a record vote. Mr. Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Childs?
Aye.
Ms. Salter?
Aye.
Aye for me. Ms. McKenna?
Aye.
Ms. Hannigan?
Aye.
Mr. Birch?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. On item 7B, consider an ordinance making a tax levy and fixing the maintenance and operations tax rate, debt service tax rate, and total tax rate for the City of Orange, Texas for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2021 and ending September 30th, 2022 upon all taxable property in the City of Orange, Texas on January 1st, 2021, according to the laws of Texas, the charter provisions, and the ordinances of the City of Orange, Texas, and providing that the said taxes levied shall be collected. Make the following motion once we get to that point. Ms. Zito.
Yes, so this is the first reading of the ordinance to set the tax levy at .80590, same as last year. It did mention the M&O rate and the debt service rate. The debt service rate is calculated by the tax assessor collector. It's .09929. That is the amount of money. Every month they send us the taxes they collect, and they portion out and they tell me how much is for our debt service. We set that aside in a separate account, and that's how we pay our bond payments. And then the M&O rate is the difference, and it's .70661.
Okay. So if there's anyone who'd like to make a motion, you would have to read it as it is printed right here for us to say it properly.
All good.
I move that the property tax rate be increased by the adoption of a tax rate of 0.80590 per $100, which is effectively a 3.48% increase in the tax rate.
Okay, that's a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second and a third. Requires a record vote. Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Childs?
Aye.
Ms. Salter? I say aye as well. Ms. McKenna?
Aye.
Ms. Hennigan?
Aye.
Mr.
Aye.
Birch? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Ito. Adjourn to close executive session. Deliberation with city attorney pursuant to Chapter 551 of Texas Government Code. Deliberation with legal counsel, consultation on collective bargaining agreement, negotiations with the International Association of Firefighters, local number 1432, and consultation on collective bargaining with Orange Municipal Police Association. At this time, if you're not a part of city council or immediate staff, you can hang out outside or in the library, and we'll reconvene shortly. Thank you.
Unless you're staff that needs to be executive session, y'all can go home, unless the mayor needs you later.
Session, take action as necessary regarding items 8A1 and 8A2 above. There's no action to be taken. To have a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
That was quick.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.